Mars. I'm sure we've all heard about Elon Musk's crazy plans to shoot lasers at the planet, or NASA's trips to Mars planned in the 2030s. Everyone wants to colonize this planet, and it's clear why. Mars gives us a never-before-seen opportunity for scientific development and to answer the universe's biggest questions, like how we are here and if there's anyone else out there like us. I became one of the many people who are obsessed with Mars and want to do as much as we can to actually make it a reality, actually get there and be able to answer all of these questions. I'm willing to sink countless hours into researching and understanding this problem just so I can learn more and be able to be a part of the moment when we finally become a multi-planetary species. Now I want to tell you about how it started, what I've discovered, and what I plan to do about it. So, I was born and raised in Dubai, which is a very, very beautiful city that I'm lucky to call my home. But there's one fatal flaw that I personally have encountered, and that's the light pollution. You see, I love space, but when I look up at night, I normally see more planes than stars. And even though this is really cool and it shows our technological capabilities as a species and as a city, it's really sad when you love space. It's pretty depressing. So I would always beg my dad to drive me to the middle of the desert so I could actually look up and see some stars. Because space does something immense for me, and it does something immense for a lot of people. It helps us realize that all of these really small things, school grades, drama at school, insecurities, self-doubt, it's all actually immensely small and negligible when compared to the vastness of the universe. I can't even comprehend how many planets there are, but I'll try to help you. It's like if you were to count every planet, and counting each planet took 1 second, you would need to be counting for 9 million times the age of the universe before you even came close. 9 million times. There's so much out there, not just in general, but out there for us to actually experience and for us to explore. When I internalize this and realize this, all of that, those negative emotions, they just transform into awe and an innate desire and passion to make a difference and make it real. That brings me to my second dissatisfaction. I'm not only dissatisfied with the starless sky, but also our education system. See, I think that young people are capable of so much more than what they're being pushed to do right now. We're able to actually network with experts, make real projects that have a lasting impact, and talk on stages. We're capable of so much more. So I wanted to take my own learning into my own hands. And what better place to start with than Mars, the next frontier for all of humanity. So I was doing some research, and let me tell you what I found out. On Mars, 0.5 to 1% of the surface is made of salts called perchlorates, and these salts are really detrimental to organisms. See, these perchlorates, when they're hit by UV radiation, turn into really harmful molecules that love to take electrons from nearby atoms. This is a really big problem because instead of plants looking nice and healthy like this, they end up looking more like this. And if we then ingest these plants or just expose to perchlorates for too long, we can end up with thyroid dysfunction, which can lead to constipation and fatigue, cognitive decline, and a risk of heart disease. Humanity has not come all this way for this. Humanity has not been making technological inventions and pushing ourselves for this long, making new inventions just so we can solve this problem, just for perchlorates to stop us from finally getting there. Which is why I'm working on a project called Spirulinx, where we want to use gene editing to detoxify Mars. Now, to explain the biology simply, we found a bacteria, and if we take two enzymes, and together, these two enzymes can actually reduce these perchlorates into completely harmless ions that also release oxygen into the atmosphere. This is great because, I don't know about you, but turning that really harmful molecule that can kill people and turning it into table salt, that sounds pretty good to me, as well as releasing oxygen, which can make the atmosphere more breathable, right? So I wanted to work on this. The bacteria we found was Bacillus subtilis, and it can survive the temperature and pressure on Mars. But UV radiation was still a really big issue because it could cause double-strand breaks in the DNA. That's why we want to use CRISPR-Cas9 to genetically modify the bacteria so it can actually stay resilient in these harsh environments. See, you can think of the genes of an organism as kind of like building blocks, and together these different pieces can help determine characteristics of the plant. For example, one could determine the size, the color, the lifespan, etc. But sometimes these genes are actually limiting to the plant. And so what we can do is actually tweak those genes to basically give the plants superpowers so they can become more resilient and actually withstand the harsh temperatures. Then if we take this, put it in a substance of water, and put it in drones to spray across a designated and secured area, or simply do it in a bioreactor inside a habitat, we can solve this pesky perchlorates problem. But there's one more caveat. See, detoxifying Mars from perchlorates is my overall goal and what I really want to do. But so many things have to happen before that's going to be possible. So right now, I have to focus on detoxifying the Earth. See, as an aspiring entrepreneur, I've always thought about this quote, which is that you should set exciting and outlandish goals, but always have realistic plans. I can't just go to Mars and start testing my ideas. And I'm only 15, right? I don't know all the regulations. I don't know everything about what's out there. So I wanted to take a step back from Mars and actually think about the Earth. What can I do right now on the Earth to prepare myself for this journey? I found that arsenic is a really, really big problem, specifically in Bangladesh, where it can exceed the regulated amounts by 130% in most of the Bangladeshi districts. This is heartbreaking because it leads to arsenic poisoning in so many people, 35 million people. This is a problem because, if you thought perchlorates were bad for health, arsenic's on another level. It increases the risk of Alzheimer's by 6 times, diabetes by 4, birth defects by 3, and so much more. It's an immeasurable amount of loss and pain, and something that I also want to work on. That's why I'm also looking at how we can use plants to literally solve the problem from its roots, to hopefully take a step towards my overall goal. Humans are incredible. We've made so many new inventions, and just at this conference, I'm sure you've heard about new technologies, new ideas. We're constantly pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible. I think it's literally in our genes to do so, and I think it's what's let us last so long, that we're never able and we're never willing to settle for what we have right now. We're always trying to push ourselves. I want to be one of the people who pushes us forward. Now, I want to leave off with this guy. This guy's Neil Armstrong. I'm sure you've heard of him. He's the first man to ever walk on the moon, and he famously said that it was one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Now, if that was just going on the moon, imagine how many marathons we'll run when we're on Mars. So that's why I'm working on Spirulinx, to make it a reality. Thank you so much.